Hey everybody, this is Heartless Spartan here with another 1/6 scale Toy Talk review. Today I have the Dragon and Dreams World War II United States 101st Airborne Division Ryan 2.0 Deluxe Edition. That was a title right there. But this figure is of Matt Damon's Private Ryan from Saving Private Ryan. Now that film has been a cornerstone film in my life ever since I was probably too young to watch it. But I will say I learned from it extensively, even from a young age. So to have figures of this scale and quality would have blown the mind of my younger self. I do want to note before moving into the review, I do have my assembly of the figure linked in the video description. It isn't included in the review simply because of how long it could take to set one of these up. Now, I will also be linking a DiD how-to video from the manufacturer that covers a couple extra things that are a bit helpful, and one thing I chose to skip in my assembly of the figure. Now, without further delay, let's get into the review. Alright, so let's take a look at Ryan here. Now, when I first got this, I did kind of pop open the box to take a look at him, but I have not yet kind of gone through everything and put them together. So the stickers are already broken on the sides. We have a nice portrait of the figure on the front. Side portrait. I like the backgrounds they did for this. Nice layout of all the weapons and equipment, his uniform. Another nice side portrait. We have a Captain Miller figure there, loading a round into the back of the bazooka. Alright, so the cover is magnetic, and that pops right off. But if I flip that around, it has a nice display background for us of the village from the movie. Looks like we have that bridge crossing there in the background, with the tank traps in the foreground. I was gonna kind of set that back there for now. Once again, we have another character portrait of Ryan. If I pull this out, flip that around, we got some general figure instructions from DiD. But then there's a video on YouTube that I'll link in the description from DiD, just some of the extras on how to do certain things. I'll talk about those a little bit later, but there will be a link in the description. If we get this off of here, we get our first look at Ryan and his weapons, some of his equipment. I'm going to lay this flat. I'm going to pull on these tabs, and it's actually going to lift this layer out, and there's going to be a second layer underneath that. With some of his extra hands, his belts, his webbing, some more of his equipment. All right. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all this stuff out of the boxes, and then I'm just kind of going to go over and take a good close look at each piece. All right, so first thing we're going to do is actually just take a good look at Ryan here. Here's our Matt Damon head sculpt that we have here. It's got that kind of stunned look on his face. Kind of like he does at the end of the movie. Very good amount of detail on there, as usual. The hair is very well colored in, too. If you look at his Airborne uniform, it's made out of a good cloth material. All of the buttons are staying on very well. I will have to add the patches on in a little while. That's something I have to do, or the buyer has to do. And his trousers. Something that I kind of like that they did for me was actually put his boots on, because that can get kind of frustrating if you have to do that on your own. So I kind of appreciate that they already did that for me. And they bloused his parachute trousers as well. So his uniform is looking fantastic. Does he have anything underneath that? Okay, yeah, he's got like an undershirt and that under there too. And then that covers up nicely. It's a very nice, very well detailed uniform. I think his boots are even made of like a leather, or at least like a foul leather. Of course, for articulation, I mean, he has very good movement. Wrist joints, elbows. Same with the other arm. And how about the torso? And leg joints. So yeah, we can get some very good posability in there. And the head and neck joints. So yeah, good. That's on a ball joint as well. So uniform looking great. Liking the Matt Damon head sculpt. Now I will talk about this hand real quick. Is that DiD comes out with these bendy hands, which allow you to pose the fingers according to how you want. Sometimes it looks a little funky. Usually I use them for when the figures have gloves, or when they really need to hold like a weapon or a piece of equipment a specific way, that the other hands that came with the set don't hold them very well. They actually come in handy. Next, we can start looking at his weapons and equipment. Although first, I will go over this little baggie of stuff that he came with. We have like a little extra belt piece to loop things onto his belt. Extra buttons in case the ones on his uniforms fall off. We have these little dashes, which I think are supposed to be for like to indicate what battalion they're from. That goes on the helmet. And there's a little how-to in that DiD video I linked in the description that kind of shows you how to do that. I looked in the film. They didn't really have that on his helmet in the film, so I think I'm just going to leave that off. And then, of course, his rank insignia and his division patch. Then we have a couple of extra lenses for the flashlight that it comes with. And then this, I believe this is tape in order to tape up the ends of his webbing straps. So maybe the first thing we'll take a look at is actually his helmet. It has the webbing over the top. And in that how-to video, they actually show putting one of the little dashes below the emblem here. But I'm actually going to leave that off because I didn't see that in the film. So I'm just going to kind of leave it as is. But we have all the webbing and the straps on the inside, and the liner does pop out. Got our chin strap. Now, I will have a separate video also linked in the description of me just kind of putting him together, but it takes such a long time, I'm not going to include it with the review. I'm just going to go over all of his equipment and the details in that. His American flag armband. Is this Velcro so it goes on easy? Okay, that's convenient. We have a flashlight. I do believe it's supposed to actually light up. And then this cap is also supposed to be able to come off. Like that. And you're supposed to be able to swap out the lenses. Oh, there we go. Got it to turn on. Now if I can get the bottom cap back on without it falling off. There we go. He also came with a set of dog tags. Let's see if I can zoom the camera in on those to get some detail. Yep, they're imprinted on there. Very nice. All right, up next we have his M1 Garand. This actually has a good weight to it. I think it's actually made of like plastic and metal. Has a very good look to it. Chamber does open. Don't get your thumb caught in there. Let's see, what other functions do we have on here? Anything? Oh, I think that's the only interactable piece on there. A very good amount of detail on this. And it's got its own little bit of weight to it, too. So it feels good to just kind of hold that in hand. Well, I've got that out. Let's actually pull out the rifle grenade here. So this is one of those grenade launchers that goes on the end of the Garand. Now, to be honest, I personally do not know how to set one of these up. I'm thinking goes on like that, and then that flips up. There we go. Hey, I figured it out. Then you'd pull that trigger and then launch off there. I would be so uneasy about using one of those. We also have a clip for the Garand. Oh, are these actually individual bullets that are added into the clip? Oh, that's pretty cool. I didn't know that. I thought they were all just kind of like glued in there. Oh, wow, yeah. So these are actually metal, and they're individual bullets that are actually loaded into the clip. Now, I kind of don't really want to set it in there because I have the feeling I might have trouble getting it out. But I think if you actually put one of these in there, it would actually fit, especially since they made the chamber able to open like that. Well, I don't know. Let's just go ahead and do it. And I didn't get my thumb caught. So they're in there, and then if we slide that back, we can see it just kind of laying in there. And I was able to get it back out. Now, we actually do get a number of these. One of them was in that front piece of foam. And then we actually got four... Oops. We actually got four more. All metal. From the back part of our set. So we actually get 5 of those in total, which is really neat. And we have our bazooka. You know, point towards enemy. Well, not Matt Damon, but still. Now this, I think this is actually made of wood here, and then the rest of this is actually metal, so this actually has a good amount of weight to it. So that's pretty awesome. Yeah, just a metal tube. Little sights at the end there. Not exactly sure where this is supposed to hook to. That seems kind of loose. Oh, there we go. Right there. Okay. I don't really know what else to say to that besides, you know, it's very well made and has a very nice weight to it. I like the machining that was done on this to give it that detail. Now, it also comes with 2 of these, which are also made of metal. So this has a little bit of weight to it. These things actually feel cold to the touch in the AC here, too. I'm curious. It will actually fit into there. So we can get that little scene going of Captain Miller and Ryan firing the bazooka. As I said, we do get 2 of these. A little bit of something there on mine. Okay, it wiped off. And he also comes with a knife. This is the one for his belt. I can actually slide that out. This feels like plastic, though. Can't quite tell if this is metal or plastic. I think that's plastic. Oh, it's got a little bit of weight to it. I don't know. This piece might be metal, but this piece might be plastic. This knife still looks pretty good, though. It's still got a fair amount of detail on it. He also has his boot knife here. And the leather sheath. If I unwrap this, this would go around kind of his, is that his calf and his shin? I want to be careful when popping this open. There we go. We'll take a look at this one. You know, I'm not sure if these are like a thin metal or a plastic. They don't feel flimsy, though. But they look pretty nice for what they are. And then I'll button that up later. Now, he also comes with his spade or shovel, whatever you'd like to call it, and trenching tool. Now this one It's made to hook on his belt. I want to be careful about unbuttoning it because these little tiny little button pegs are fairly easy to break. So slide that out. Actually flip that over. That actually tightens up. I think that's actually metal too. So we have his entrenching tool. Next we have his webbing. That'll go, over his shoulders and across his back and hook onto his belt. Not too much to look at there. Now there is like a DiD how-to about using that little strip of tape there to kind of wrap the specific ends of this in a certain way. That will be linked in the description. I do believe this is called a Musette Bag. It's just kind of like the little backpack that the paratroopers kind of used. Now, it doesn't have any like equipment in it. It's actually a piece of foam that kind of gives it that full look. So that's going to look pretty nice. I don't think we really see him wear that in the film, but I do like that they included, additional equipment and stuff with him. We have the canteen that'll go on his belt. Now, I do believe this is metal because on my Captain Miller it was metal, and I want to be very careful with these little buttons because on my Captain Miller I actually broke one of the little buttons, and so his canteen always just has one of these little flaps open all the time. So the little cup in there is also metal. If we pull that out. And what's great about these, it actually does work like the mess kit does. And the little handle flips out. You can actually push that down. And it's a cup. And then, of course, there's a little canteen here. Now, does the cap come off? I don't know if the cap... I don't think the cap comes off on this one. Yeah, I can't get it to turn. So that's kind of part of our mess kit there from our canteen. Then we have a bunch of these little pouches for ammunition or maybe whatever else they might have stuck in these. But we actually get, let's see, 2, 4, 5 of these. And they don't have any of the clips in them. They don't have any equipment in them. They're just kind of loaded with, there goes one, some foam to give them that full look like there's actually stuff in there. I don't really want to bother opening those just because those little buttons on there, the pegs are so small, they're so sensitive that it's easy to break them. And then each one of these has like a little flap in the back for the belt to feed through. Speaking of the belt, there it is. Whoops, it's upside down. It's that really nice texture to it too. Hopefully I won't have too much trouble getting that on him. And the little pieces, Yeah, those look like they're metal too, so I don't see those breaking very easily. He did come with a nice little wristwatch with a fair amount of detail on it. Little leather straps. You have to be very careful when adding this on because, I mean, these are so small and so thin that it's kind of easy to break those, so be careful about that. I think I would pull the hand off and then kind of size it up and then kind of put it on, or put the strap through and then slide it onto the wrist. And we get 2 fragmentation grenades that actually are metal, so they have a little bit of weight to them. It does feel like these are separate parts. I don't really want to bend up the metal on them, so I'm going to leave the pins in place, but I'm pretty sure that if we actually pulled the pin out there and flip the lever, that they'd actually separate. So that is something you can do if you really want to. And then we have 2 weapon hands. And other than the bendy hands, these are the only 2 that he came with. I think the last thing I will do is actually swap out a pair of the hands on camera here. Gotta be very careful. So that actually swapped out very easily. It always kind of scares me with wrist pegs because it didn't seem like DiD included extras. I really would like it if these companies included additional wrist pegs with their sets. That would make me very happy. Because every time I swap out hands, there's a little bit of sheer terror every time I go to swap hands out, no matter how careful I am. I mean, there I just slipped, and it's like I just scared myself a little bit. Because then it's like, oh, great, now I have to try to match the wrist peg and order some online from somewhere. I'm not sure if DiD sells them separately or anything. But there's always that little bit of terror every time I'm swapping out hands. But there's our Ryan. Let's go ahead and move into a montage. This Ryan figure has an accurate likeness of Private Ryan, played by Matt Damon, albeit they gave him that somewhat shocked or confused look he had at the end of the film. The Airborne uniform looks absolutely fantastic. The patches were effortless to attach for me on this one. I did skip the battalion dash on the helmet, and I found the netting to frequently become frustratingly loose because it's really only held on by the liner. As for the quality of just about everything, it's top-notch. All the cloth and leather held up when putting this together, and for most things that looked metal, they were metal. The quality materials held up to a realistic and authentic look for this figure. The sheer weight of it in hand also adds to a realistic feeling when examining the figure. Overall, it's a wonderful tribute to both the success of the film, but to the overall purpose in the first place, in honoring those who answered the call of duty and did a great service for all of us, no matter how significant their role. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Leave a comment. Did Saving Private Ryan or another similar film have an impact on your life? It certainly did mine ever since I was a child. This has been Heartless Spartan. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.